where America stands.
If one moment could capture the unexpected trauma of the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, this would be it. American soldiers hit by a roadside bomb. Something as simple as a homemade booby trap literally blew up America's plan for quick and easy victories. The report card is written in blood and treasure. 5,300 dead, more than a third of them killed by roadside bombs. 36,000 wounded, more than 950 amputees. 2 million have deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan, more than half of them leaving families behind. Some have served 5 combat tours. 300,000 are estimated to suffer from post-traumatic stress or major depression. 480,000 who have left the service are now in the VA system. The soldiers have made the sacrifices, but the American taxpayer has footed the bill. This year, the total amount spent on the 2 wars will go over the $1 trillion mark. The problem is there for all to see. The most powerful and sophisticated military force in history, stretched almost to the breaking point by 2 guerrilla wars against third-rate opponents. Shock and awe turned out to be a myth.
There are many people who believe that technology had essentially solved the problem of future war, that we would be able to win, future wars cheaply, quickly, mainly at standoff range.
Brigadier General H.R. McMaster, one of the most successful battlefield commanders in Iraq, argues that the next conflict is likely to be another war the U.S. did not bargain for.
What we see in Afghanistan and Iraq is we see sort of harbingers of future conflict.
The principal lesson of both conflicts and the problem McMaster is grappling with is the unpredictability of war, where it will break out and how it will unfold.
You're never going to get it right. No one has ever really got it precisely right in terms of the demands of future armed conflict. The key, though, is to not be so far off the mark that you can't adapt, that you can't adjust.
You're not going to be exactly right, just try not to be exactly wrong.
Exactly. Try not to define future conflict as you would like it to be, because if you do, you're just about guaranteed that it will be nothing like that.
In addition to the obvious places where war could break out, Korea, Iran, Yemen, there are 90 failing countries in the world which could dissolve into conflict. The Army brainstorms future crises at, ironically, the oldest fort in America, Fort Monroe, Virginia, defended by a moat.
It's the only place in the Army where we bring them all together.
Lieutenant General Michael Vane is in charge of preparing the Army for the future. Everything from tomorrow in Afghanistan to 2025 in who knows where.
The future is happening almost in dog years. The pace of change is at such a rapid rate. It's exponential.
If you can't predict, the only solution is to adapt, which has proved painful and costly in both Iraq and Afghanistan. So the Army is trying to train soldiers to adapt to the enemy's latest tactics before they ever get to the battlefield. And to do that, it has turned to an unlikely source, the entertainment industry.
But what does Hollywood have to teach the U.S. Army about war?
What Hollywood brings is an ability to help us simulate reality.
We have 1, 2, 3, 4 sniper shots up there on the left-hand side, over.
We can bring the battlefield to the soldier before he or she ever goes to battle.
First, the battlefield, everything from video taken by spy drones to the chemical composition of the latest roadside bomb, is brought into this operations center, located of all places, in a mall outside Colonial Williamsburg.
It's where the Army tries to capture all the complexities and dilemmas of combat and turn them into real-world training for troops on their way to Iraq and Afghanistan.
Terabytes of data are transformed into computer simulations, a no-nonsense version of the video games today's soldiers grew up playing.
And how long before somebody can train on that?
4 days.
4 days, yes, sir.
Retired Army Sergeant Mark Covey runs what is undoubtedly the most high-stakes video gaming center in the world. The videos are posted on a classified website where soldiers bound for Iraq and Afghanistan practice against the latest enemy tactics. That's just the beginning of what the Army has in mind.
This is the next step in the in serious gaming for training, and that's to take a soldier and put him in the environment. And so in this case, you don't want to know Humvee?
3D battlefield simulations.
This is what we call a geotypical village.
The aim is to download these 3D simulations into a warehouse big enough to hold an entire platoon of soldiers learning to clear a village wherever the next war might be.
We can rapidly change. We can go from an Afghan village to an Iraqi village to perhaps somewhere in the Philippines. You're only limited by your imagination.
You're good to go. You ready to go swimming?
Good to go for a Hollywood-produced ride down a road in Afghanistan. Actually, the landscape is Lone Pine, California, scene of countless cowboy movies. Only now it's a gauntlet of roadside bombs. The aim is to use the most sophisticated device of all, the human eye, to find them before they find you. Just like the real battlefield, the enemy can come at you in unexpected ways.
Hey! Whoa! I don't know how close to the real thing that was, but it was very, very convincing, and it took you totally by surprise. Sergeant, were you ready for that?
I was not, sir. I had no idea it was coming.
The goal is to make a soldier's last day of training the same as his first day in combat. A very different kind of shock and awe. David Martin, CBS News, Fort Monroe, Virginia.